Hello and welcome back to Behind Marketing Lines. Today, our guest is Samir Awarkeh. I've actually written a very detailed introduction of him, which I'm going to read out loud for you. In this episode, we go behind the marketing lines, quite literally. Samir Awarkeh isn't a marketer, but without professionals like him, marketing dreams would not stay just that. They would still be dreams, right? As an innovation and business transformation leader, Samir's work powers the systems, structures, and strategies that marketing teams rely on but rarely see. We talk about what marketers often miss, the risks of ignoring the backend, and how innovation isn't a campaign, it's a culture. From dashboards to data ethics, it's a rare peek into the operational side of brand success. Samir, thank you very much for taking time out.
Thank you very much. I don't think I deserve this introduction, but thank you. Thank you, Zeeshan, for having me here.
No, I worked with you and you deserve even more. But
Thank you. Much appreciated.
So I'll start off with a very unconventional question, right? So if your life was a Netflix movie, what would the name of that movie be and what would be the, opening scene?
Interesting question. I think me liking cars, I would say shifting gears.
Oh, okay.
Because it's all about really shifting gears and changing and, getting more smoother. And if I want to have the first scene, I think I'll go back, way back when you had what we used to call a dot matrix printer that, it start printing and you can hear it like from a mile away. And all these customers around us, loud voices, very busy, everything is handwritten and everything is done through papers. And you see usually at the reception, a lot of people there waiting and taking all the time in the world, getting frustrated. And I think I'll go back to, and the scene, I'll be sitting there maybe thinking to who I am. I mean, my middle name is Y, correct? It's something that tag that I had all my life.
That is correct.
I grew up being questioned and I came into the business world and I became Y. And I would ask myself, why does it take so much time? Why there are people here? Why is it so slow? Why do we do processes in this way? And then from there, because once you answer your why, then you start addressing the real problem that you have. And from why you can go anywhere. You can go into what needs to be done. What can I do differently? What is the process that is stopping all of this? How can I think in a different way? Who needs to be involved, correct? And then you go through the whole process of coming with new ideas and new ways of looking at things. But unless you really answer why you're doing something and understanding the reason and the value, correct? It's all about ROI. Whether the ROI is business, whether it's processes, whether it's money coming back to you and proficiencies. You need to answer first of all the why, because from there you can go to any other area and understanding how you can implement that, the value you bring to the company, people who needs to be involved, and so on and so forth.
Right, and I think the word that I hear from all this conversation is agility. So agility gets to be your last name then?
Well, it has been my, I would say, my sidekick for the last maybe 15, 20 years.
Awesome.
I worked in so many different countries, as you know. I traveled a lot. I think agility is definitely part of what I do. I lived in 7 countries in my last 30 years. Wow. I moved 14 houses. Superb packer, I think, moving.
Awesome.
So agility is definitely a mindset. It's not about just thinking and saying it loudly about like we need to be agile in certain things, unless you have it as a culture and understanding within the business how you have to be agile to follow the market needs and to follow, most importantly, what the customer wants in the market. Then you're stuck. So agility is definitely one of the most, I would say, important, or nucleus actually of any transformation.
No, 100%. So you have a very decorated career. When I look at your LinkedIn, it's full from AIG to being an independent consultant. So why did you settle on business transformation or transformation, I would say?
Great question. I think if I took it in a certain way in everything you do in life, change is the only constant.
100%.
There is
Agreed.
absolutely nothing you can do. I mean, and I'm sorry, I'm a big Formula One and actually race one. I'm going to take just a very quick example of if we go back to the 1990s, and you see the time that these Formula One cars used to take in the pit, it used to be around, I would say, 8.9 seconds. In the 2000s, it went down to 7. In the 2010, it went to 4. I would say 5.
Wow.
2020, they went all the way to 1.46. If there's an industry in the world that never have enough, never that believes that no matter where you get, there is more to go through, it's these guys. You know, their R&Ds and the way they market themselves and the approach shows you that the best is never enough. There's always something else to do to improve. So once you believe that change is not a threat, but actually something that can get you to a better place, and it doesn't mean that it's going to shake your life, but to improve your life, I think then this is when you believe that change is a constant that needed to have in life, whether at business or at home or on a person basis, because the first person that needs to be changed is you. If you don't change, you don't accept the change, you cannot change others.
No, 100%. I totally agree with you. And since this is all about marketing, and we usually try to go behind marketing lines and look at things from a different perspective, which people don't see. And you have worked with many marketers in your life. I
Great
also had the
marketers,
honor of
actually.
working
Great
with
marketers.
you. I hope I make it to
You
the
are.
second
You
tier
have,
list at
actually,
least.
for those, we're just talking offline that, you are one of those markets I have a big admiration for.
I'm really humbled and honored. So, what's one thing that the marketers always get wrong, you know, from the technology and transformation perspective? Because I remember I've been in meetings with you where we're having
I've
this
been vocal.
conversation exactly. So where you're telling us, because of you, we are at the verge of losing it, and we are at risk, and the kind of websites you guys access.
Yeah, I
So,
think
what do we
it's,
get wrong? I mean, and how do we fix it?
look, I will never say that a professional marketer or in that side, but let me go to the other side of the business, looking at marketer from a different angle. And one thing I've seen all my life is the marketer always focus on the output, the design, who they're gonna go after, how much we're gonna spend, which channel to use. And what they really miss most of the time is the back end. Unless you are prepared to do all of this, then you might be wasting your money. So, example, if you don't have a proper CRM to capture every click, to understand the whole cycle of who's coming, where are you coming, if you don't have the data, if you don't understand what's happening every second, you will miss everything. So, one of the things that the market needs to start looking at in terms of technology or back end, am I ready with this kind of campaign? What am I gonna do to have a successful campaign? Where can I fail? Or what if I go and do all of these efforts, spend all of this money, have the best campaign ever, most beautiful visuals, but then I don't understand what's going on to adjust it? I think this is where, in my humble opinion, is one of the it's not really a failure, areas of improvement that needs to be done. And there's another area of improvement, which I believe is even more important, is all marketers focus on the outside. I've never seen marketer, I'm not going to say never,
They miss internal marketing. Agreed.
yeah, to have an internal marketing. Like before you sell it to the outside, sell it to your employees. Let them be your
100%.
ambassadors. Let them understand what are we really selling? What is the product? Why are we doing this? Once these guys are, and that's a place to have your test, correct? To see, do people understand what we are doing?
So
And
true.
if internally who are involved don't understand, then maybe we should adjust our approach. So I think these two areas, understanding the infrastructure and what it supports these kind of campaigns. And the second one is, please go after and look after and talk to those internally so they can give you what the full support, correct?
100%. And what I hear is that marketers focus more on the moments and they don't focus much on the systems. But don't you think at the end of the day, I mean, if we go back in time, ideally, marketing department should be co-creating a system with IT? I mean, I know marketing is not a major stakeholder and it is usually not taken as a stakeholder when IT systems are being built. But I've been at, I have been in situations where once in one of my previous lives, I was told that, okay, you need to start running, campaigns, and we were working with a low code solution, right? And all of a sudden, I get to know that, okay, this low code solution does not support Google Analytics. Okay, it was probably 6, 7 years ago, but guys, when you were taking a decision, did you consider that marketing will be coming back and asking you these questions? So don't you think, I mean, at the end of the day, it should be co-created and marketing should be kept as one of the stakeholders? Because usually at the end of the day, we get to know, okay, this is a solution we are using. This is the front end you would be building on, and go run the campaigns.
Superb question. I think, if I may, I'll take a different approach to this. I don't think you should be part of it. You should be leading the things that marketing need for the future. And in my humble opinion, I don't think you should wait for someone to tell you that you need to be part of something. You have to go and say, for me to be able to successful in campaigns, these are the requirements that I need. Do we have that internally? If not, how much time? Going back to the previous question, correct? Is instead of
100%.
focusing on the front end, prepare yourself. So, and prepare yourself is not by waiting for someone to invite you to prepare yourself. Go there and, be intrusive in a way and say, look, for me to be successful, I need these kind of tools. Do I have these tools? Okay. No. How much time do I need to go through the process of transformation to get these tools to be successful? So, and I totally agree with you. There have been always a consensus that, we talk to marketing last. There are a lot of people who build products, forget IT, correct? We go and build
Agreed.
products and we never
So
speak
true.
to marketing and say, please sell this product that in any way, shape or form doesn't look, beautiful enough to go into the market, and then marketing have to come up with miracles to be able to sell it. So sometimes I think we need to start getting away from the fact that we need to be invited to get into a discussion and come forward and say, look, we need these tools, we need these processes, we need this kind of contribution and cooperation by everyone to be successful.
No, 100%. And since, most of the audience of this podcast is the aspiring marketers or somebody, people who are just getting into the field. So I think it's very important for them to understand that you don't need an invite. You need to go there and tell them, guys, this is what I need. This is what we need to do. And you need to help us there, right?
Absolutely. Why do you need an invite? It's your success. You need to go and build your own success. And you build your own success by taking action, correct? Be proactive. Just go and do it. Don't wait for others to tell you, to invite you. You don't need an invite.
No, 100%. And, ideally, there shouldn't be a rift between any of the departments within a company. But sometimes we see a little between IT and marketing, right? And can you tell us about one of the instances where you had to kill one of the marketing's dream and tell them, no,
Look,
I'm shooting it down. It's not happening.
I've been doing operation transformation all my life. Let me take an example I would like to use, and I'm going to go back to Formula One.
Okay.
If I want to paint a picture, marketing is the driver. Everyone in the world talks about the driver. The driver has done that, which means the driver is the face of that company. He is representing the company. He's selling the image. He's promoting whatever the company is doing, and so on and so forth. So if we look at that angle, he is the marketing. Then you go back and say, so what's the back end, all the operation? And everyone back at the pit, designers, mechanics, the people who put the strategies, all these people are responsible to make sure that that driver has all the tools. So I think we should flip it and start thinking that if I want to be successful in the market, I need to make sure that I'm providing all the tools for this marketer to succeed. And not, have these kind of challenges. And challenges happen, Kamal.
100%.
On the same example, while the marketing, who's the driver, is driving, unless he gets the proper information, sometimes, and now, they are paying a big penalty for swearing on air. It's just, this is the new regulation that came this year, actually.
Right.
These riffs happen. But the riffs needs to be taken in a positive way, because the riffs means there's something that still needs to be tuned. It doesn't mean that there's a riff. It simply means that there's something that is not working and we need to work on it and we need to adjust. So when the race is gone, which means when the campaign is gone, or the campaign is still going, because the campaign it's a season, correct?
100%. I think
And
friction is important, right?
you have to adjust it during the season, not after the season. Otherwise, you're going to lose the season, right? And this is why information is very important. And when I was talking about the back end and information, when the driver, which is the marketer, is doing his campaign, if he doesn't get feedback on what's happening, okay, you are 0.2 seconds away from that person, push it and do that. You will not be able to do that kind of adjustment if you don't have the back end. And the back end are the
100%.
tools, correct? And this is what I'm saying. Don't wait for someone to tell you what to do. This is why a lot of drivers go and test the cars and say, adjust this. This is what the marketing needs to do. They need to do and say, look, for me to be successful, I need 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm not getting 1, 2, 3. Give me one and let's work on 2 and 3. But don't wait until you have the 3, correct? You always have to
100%.
go and try, because sometimes you ask for something, you test and say, it's not what I want something else, correct? So don't wait until everything is 100% accurate, because the number 100% does not exist. Nothing is 100%. Everything is 90, 10, 30. There's always improvement, because the second you believe that you reach the 100% accuracy, you're missing something.
100%. And just to spice things up a little, I would want to go back to my question. Any marketer's dream that you killed during your, career, like at places where you told them, no, 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 this cannot happen, guys, we're not moving forward.
Well, I wouldn't say that I had a challenge to that, but I definitely said a lot of no's for a lot of marketers. But I didn't really say, no, it's not going to happen. It was more around, no, it could not happen now. And what do we need to do to make it happen? There should never be an absolute no, correct? The absolute no means there is no communication. And you should never lose communication, even if you don't see it. Sometimes people don't see what others see. It doesn't mean that what others see is wrong. If you don't have that kind of knowledge, you might sometimes not understand where the marketing guy is coming from. Because we're talking
True.
about marketing, I'm going to talk about marketing guy.
Agreed.
I don't have the skills. I don't have the knowledge of understanding how the clicks work, correct? Or how I'm not going to say manipulate, but, drive my audience to where I want to go. If I don't have that skill, I cannot be the judge, correct? So my job is to make sure to understand why he needs these tools, so I can help him maybe with the tools that he needs. I think one of the challenges that happen, and that's a life situation where I remember a marketer was insisting that he want X. And we said, no, but please tell us why you need X. How would X work? And then after a debate, we gave him why. Because even though X was amazing, but the ROMI on X was so low in comparison because of the cost of X, we went to a different solution. I'm not going to mention the solution because
100%.
I'm not going to...
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to say with solutions. That solution is actually one of the solutions in the world. But the cost of that solution does not justify what we're doing. We went to a solution that gives us what we want. If I need a smaller car and smaller engine, there is no need for me to buy the bigger one, correct? Let me start with here. And once my success drives me to the level where I would need the supercharged, then I'll go supercharged. I think sometimes the gap is certain markets believe that I need to always get the supercharged, otherwise I will not succeed. There's a balance, and the balance is the ROMI. And you're a guy who comes, you and I discussed many times return on investment marketing investment, and it's very important that we look at the balance between what do you want compared to what we can have. And if I can get something that is as close as to get me to where I am, I would say this is one of the biggest challenges that we had at some point of time with a marketer.
No, I think it makes sense. And with so many regulations coming in and, so many information security and IT security things from the operational side, you guys have to look at. What are some of the risks that you have seen marketers ignore and they shouldn't? Many I know, but some of them.
Data acquisition. Data acquisition
Okay.
is one of the biggest things. The protection of personal information is growing in a lot of countries.
Right.
Even though you might be able to access or get personal information on public sites and others, the way you use it is where you start failing, correct? Yeah, everyone who has public profiles, now there are different tools where you can aggregate this information, but using the information is where the laws trigger. So there's a fine line between having something and using something. And in certain areas, actually, and in certain jurisdiction, even having that information is unacceptable, correct? So unless you have it through certified channels and so on and so forth. So for me, I think the number one challenge that a lot of marketers, especially the telemarketer, is they
Agreed.
go and acquire these kind of telephones and start, I'm going to use the word harassing people, correct? Like you tell him, don't call me again, he gives a number to someone else and that someone else calls you, correct?
Yeah.
And there are countries where you cannot do that anymore. Telemarketing is forbidden in certain countries unless you sign off for it,
Agreed. The
correct? So,
consent is important. Yes.
so it's not acquiring as much, but it's the usage of the data that acquired is the trick for the regulator.
Right. So, I mean, data acquisition and making sure that, it's compliant as well as it's ethical and
Absolutely.
it's used ethically.
I think the word everyone use in the regulator is consent. You can acquire it, but you need the consent. If you don't have the consent, you cannot use it.
Agreed. And as you mentioned, and I'm grateful you mentioned that, marketers believe that they are on the driving seat of that Ferrari who's going to race, right? I'm not much of the vehicles guy like you and Ellie are, but, I mean, if you consider that, okay, marketing is on the driving seat and marketers also do sometimes consider themselves to be on the driving seat, right? And, they want to speed up. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes marketers believe that the systems are slowing them down, right? The IT is slowing them down. The transformation department or the business consulting team is slowing them down. They're not giving them the tools that they want, and the systems are not supportive. So, in your career, how have you approached that? So that the marketers are happy, and your own teams are compliant in making sure everything is in order.
I think it's a balance.
Right.
I'm going to go back to the same example. One of the Formula One's races in Singapore happens in the night.
Okay.
So imagine if all the lights are off. You can send that driver, correct? And he will get the thrill in the first couple of seconds, but he might miss every angle. He might miss every corner. And one mistake, and he will hit the wall, and he's out of the.
Agreed.
I believe that all the tools are the lights, correct? So, but you need to give him as well the proper lights. If the lights are too strong, he will not be able to see because it's night.
True.
It's the balance. So, understanding what are the tools that are required, then let the professional find you the tools, correct? So, you as a market needs the data to go to flow in certain ways.
Agreed.
Don't come in and say, I want this and I want this tool, correct? So each one needs to work within his own realm of expertise, correct?
True.
I think this is where the true teams work together. It's like, we need this, guys. I need to do it this way. And I need it because of 1, 2, 3. Meaning you need to have the parameters very well, correct? And again, I'm sorry I'm using the same example,
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
just to keep it in the same story. If one of the drivers is 1 kilo heavier than previous race, he will lose around 2 to 4 seconds every lap.
Oh, okay.
So imagine, correct? So it's that delicate. So technically, when the market says that he wants something and he explains the data flow that and I would say the intelligence you get from that, then the people who are working on who understand the technology and can do a proper due diligence on this can come up with different solutions to be discussed. I think in certain areas, people come with what I want and I want this, and this is where the breakage happens.
Right.
So it's a balance, and we go back to Romy, correct? Let's not invest too much if we just
We
need
always have to go
a
back
small
there,
thing. So let's
100%.
go to Romy every time. Let's think about that. But it's a work. It's a teamwork. There's absolutely nothing can happen unless there's a support from everyone, and I would say that it's teamwork and the balance.
100%. I totally agree. But I mean, coming back from the marketer's side again, they usually go with all the business cases in place and the use cases in place and, a bit of return on marketing investment numbers as well. But again, at the end of the day, at times I've seen at different places that, they still believe they're being, slowed down. The industry is moving fast. The competitor is going to use that and they're going to, take a step ahead and they'll be, able to mint more money than, the company itself. So, but I think I agree with you. It's a teamwork and things should be co-created. I totally agree with you. But again, I think I need to take something out of your expertise because I understand that you have done it, for over 2 decades now.
A bit more
Right?
than that.
Exactly.
Thank
Imagine.
you. 2 decades. Thank
So,
you.
So imagine you have actually grown with, the fields, the marketing itself. Marketing used to be the Madman era, things were paper based. Max they were doing was printing
We started with flyers.
pamphlets exactly. And, if they were heavy on budgets, they would go
Yes.
and get some billboard, right?
Yeah.
But now it has changed. And now the requirements have changed as well. So
And the
one
client
piece
has
of
changed.
advice.
And the client has changed.
That is
The
correct.
appetite
Yeah.
has changed. And that changes everything as well.
100%, because now the client is hyper connected, right? They're everywhere. That is why the marketers want to be everywhere as well, right? If I go back and tell my team, my IT team tomorrow that okay, there is a new platform called Blue Sky, I'm just saying, right?
Whatever, yeah.
And we need to be there, right? And then they would be like, no, but we need to do due diligence, right? We need to make sure it's compliant. And by that time, the competitor has already established their place on that particular platform, right? So this is where the marketers
I'm
see.
loving the way you're coming from. I'll come from the other angle.
Okay,
One of the hardest thing that people need to do is a pitch. And the Romy pitch is one of the hardest, correct?
agreed.
Because you need to be able to sell an idea saying, if I do this, I'm going to get you that, all through assumptions, correct? If you
Agreed.
had a product,
Forecasting, but yeah,
correct?
assumptions.
Most of it is assumption, correct? And one thing that, most of the companies struggle with is budget. So for you
Agreed.
to be able to grab some money from that pool, you need to be extremely convincing.
Agreed.
And there are still, unfortunately, certain companies who do not see that actually marketing is one of the most important pillars in the company. Just fix my Facebook and do website. They think that certain marketers just do websites and Facebook and they
Agreed.
put a couple of things on
Agreed.
TikTok,
Been there.
but they don't understand that they are driving the whole attention to the company, right? And this is why I intentionally said that he's the driver, because ask anyone. I don't think I can tell you 90% of people who watch Formula One do not know the name of even the manager. Forget, the support.
Okay.
They will not even know the manager who's managing the team, correct? Some of them do.
Right.
Everyone knows the driver. And there must be a shift. There have been other departments and other areas that as well suffered through the last, I think, 2 decades to get to the forefront of companies to say that the service is not the product, but it's how you service the product. Anyone can imitate a product. I mean, you take a couple of pictures, send it to someone now, on a 3D printer, you have your,
Prototype ready,
and you
yeah.
can go and start producing it. But you cannot easily copy service because service is culture. And this is where marketing comes in. It's a culture. Once we understand that marketing is not advertising, this is the problem. We still believe, I still sit with people who believe that, they are advertising. They think it's all about the banners, the billboards, correct? They don't understand the science behind it. And it's that instant. And if we always look at marketing as being instant, we will never progress. It needs to become an embedded vision that in this year, we're going to do X, Y, Z. But the marketing team has to as well show what we call not only tactical, but like sprints. So we need to have these kind of 3-month or 2-month, whatever, deliveries to gain, I would say, consensus. Because if you give a project for a year or 3, and usually we plan for 3 years, correct?
Agreed.
But once you get these quarters, then people believe, and then going into that pitch becomes easier. Again, it's a balance. It's between how can we convince people to give me something from the pot who they believe needs to go into product development or sales, correct?
Agreed.
And market it and sell it and put it somewhere where I can have the best product in the world. If I don't know how to sell it, it's perception.
True.
So it's the perception of the product, not only once people take it. Another example. You have a car, you go into showroom.
Right.
The first thing that attracts you is not the engine. It's the shape. That's marketing.
Agreed.
It's how it looks. It's the color. It's which color they use and they pick for the showroom to bring people in. Once you are happy with the shape, which is the marketing, telling people, brought them in, then you open the car and say, so what's the engine? Show me the seats, show me that. And that's the operation. Same thing with the companies. It's building an image, and an image goes through marketing, not advertising. There's still a lot of education in certain areas where we need to switch the mindset from an advertising team to a marketing team, because it's way bigger than these pockets that we do.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for me, marketing is the mother of customer experience, right? Marketing has to drive that. It
Absolutely.
has to, work hands in hand with the sales team, the customer service team,
Absolutely.
the after sales service team, the operations team, right? And make sure that at all the touch points, the customer is getting the same experience that they're getting at an offline touch point, maybe, or an online
I'll
touch
go
point,
all the
right?
way to the CEO and maybe to the board of director, because if they don't behave properly, they're gonna impact the whole company, correct?
100%.
So marketing needs to be there and say, you really need to go and attend meetings. You need to go and attend this conference. You have to go and reflect the company's image. Please don't go wearing shorts and slippers. Marketing is not simply about, it's about culture, going back, correct?
Agreed.
And it's not what you wear, it's how you behave, correct? So when I refer to what you're wearing, I was more referring about how you behave and how you present yourself to people. So it's very important that we start putting the culture of like each one of us is an ambassador of the company. And once you believe that, you become marketer without even have to ask to be marketer.
100%. I totally agree with you. And I worked with you in the past on some dashboards as well. So, if you were to change the marketer's dashboard that they send out weekly, monthly, or yearly, or show at the end of the year, what would you change? Like, what things they actually should be showing and what are they showing today?
I wouldn't specify, but I'll tell you this. If you cannot measure it, don't capture it.
Right.
And unless the KPIs that you're capturing drive you to take an action, don't even look at them. So when you look at your dashboards, look at all KPIs that actually triggers an action and promote them. And those that are there just for the look of because we have now 10, not 7, I would say don't remove them, but put them in the back burner. When I say like you click and you see them, they are still there, but you always have to remove the noise. You need to wake up every morning as a marketer, like a lot of people who go and do stocks. Right? They wake up in the morning and they see that dashboard. You need to wake up when you get there, have these 5, 6, 7 measures that really tells a story. 100% means nothing if it was one conversion of one advertising. But if you know it's 100% of 1,000 and you had 1,000 clicks, so you need to have the story to understand what does each ratio means and what does each number means in relevance to what you're behaving and doing. So one of the things I've seen a lot is people just focus on numbers because this is what the management needs to see, and they miss the story. What markets are good at are storytelling.
Agreed.
And if they cannot tell a story from the numbers that they have to understand where is the story going, correct? Are we going to the edge and we're going to fall? Or is it going even if it's, curves, but we are still on the road, that's fine.
Agreed.
You need to look at data. And if you cannot tell a story from the data, there's something missing from your data, or there's too much and you are distracted by the noise. So the noise needs to be definitely removed. You need to look at all the things that can help you think and not distract from something else.
100%. And I think the dashboards need to be tailor made for different audience because not everybody would be interested or even understand what a click through rate is, right? At the end of the day.
And I think even the market has to have their own optimized, even within the same team. Certain people might be interested in XYZ, others are interested in this. So understanding the numbers needs to be very important, but as well understanding what does the number mean is more important. A lot of people catch numbers and just say, it's 20% of this, 40. I had 4 clicks. Okay, how do you have the 4 clicks? Where the clicks came from? You need to really dig deep sometime, understand the funnels, correct? I mean, it's all about
Agreed.
funnels and how the funnels
100%.
work, and be able to take an action.
Right. 100%. And I mean, we were talking offline about the attention span, right? And even within the organizations now, people are looking at quarterly results and, changing directions as well per quarter. So how do you still focus on the long-term transformation if things are changing so quickly?
So you mentioned the word agility, no?
I did.
If you look at the last month, there have been so many things that have been released from a technology point of view.
Yeah.
Those who developed something 3 months ago now are thinking about, are we obsolete? This is how fast and quick the digital world is changing, right? And everything with it. So the expectations are changing. And as a marketer, let's think about it in this manner. When you're advertising to three different generations, correct? So having the balance between what different people want is also an interesting part. So it's always about being agile. And what I mean by being agile is, look, I don't know why people think that they cannot adjust their plans. Have your plan built in a way that if you adjust it, it will still give you values. Don't say that if I don't get to the end, I'm not gonna get the value. No, maybe you can take, an exit and come back to the end, but still get the value. So agility is about understanding how you have to adjust yourself based on the behavior of your customers. And once you know the purpose of what you're doing, maybe the end is not in that angle, it's on a different angle because of the change. So agility comes with the fact that make your plans to be flexible and don't wait until everything has happened. This is why data is important. If you can start seeing the story as it's developing, it's like trading, correct?
Agreed.
You start seeing the candlesticks, and
Candlesticks, yeah.
once you see that something happened, you say, "I'm in." If you
Agreed.
remove your head for a minute, if you're on the minute side, you're losing it. So it's understanding the long term, which comes from reading, but as well be in the action where it's happening. So you don't wait. I see people who look at their statistics on a monthly basis. It's too late. You already
What's the
spent a
point?
lot of money on channels that will never get you money, right? So it's being there, but not overdoing it. So it's a balance.
No, 100%. And yeah, the point I was planning to make earlier was the innovation was actually on steroids past couple of weeks, right? I was in the hospital for a minor surgery, and by the time I woke up, there were so many things happening. I mean, you could animate your pictures, you could actually upload your picture to
Yes.
ChatGPT and ask it to create different versions of you. And before I actually went in, 48 hours ago, there was nothing, of that sort. And we were still dependent on graphic designers to do so many things. But in like 48 hours, all that industry is, at the verge of being wiped out, right? So I totally agree with you. Things are changing at a rapid speed, and we need to catch up.
It's the
So
agility of the mindset.
agreed. I think that's a beautiful line. We're going to pick that up for probably the DP that we make. Perfect. And we see a lot of innovation happening for the marketers. There is personalization, then there is hyper personalization, then there is automation, then there is artificial intelligence doing all those, uh, you know, uh, repetitive tasks for us. So, what do you think is the biggest innovation of past, per se, 1 year? Is it the automation, the personalization, or transparency?
All of the above, all of it.
All of it.
It's the ecosystem. If you look at it separately, you're gonna miss something. You need to
Agreed.
look at the whole thing as an ecosystem. How can I use the ecosystem to my advantage? If you only look at one part of the ecosystem, you're definitely missing something else. Look at the ecosystem and say, okay, if I want to get somewhere, how can I bring the whole thing together to get the best car, correct? It's like you cannot have just the engine. You need the engine, you need brakes, you need tires, you need the whole thing. Think about it this way. The ecosystem, once it's connected, whether it's the three RMs, it's the marketing push, it's what you do on the channels, it's how you think about the colors, correct? I mean, think about the whole thing, the design. If you don't bring that whole ecosystem together, you definitely see something. And the technology is helping you with all your repetitive tasks. So use technology to replace these repetitive tasks so you can start becoming more strategic. It's not replacing you. A lot of people think that if I use something, it will replace me. No, it will replace the admin task that you're doing. They will have more time to think strategically for the future, which means the better value of you is coming out, but you're too busy to think about that. So use it to get you in a better place, and don't be afraid of changing. Your past successes means nothing if you don't adapt for the new successes.
No, 100%. I like that. So your perspective is really important to me because, for aspiring marketers who would be listening to this podcast, they need to understand that when they are working, finally they've got the job as marketers that they always wanted to while they were studying and all. There are different departments looking at marketing from different perspective, and they have their expectations from the marketing team. There are things that they like about marketing and things that they don't like about marketing, and their opinion is actually very calculated, right? It's an intellectual opinion. It's not like they just have an opinion, a random opinion for something. So, from your perspective, as a business leader of more than 2 decades of experience.
Three.
Let's
put it
three.
on.
Yeah. So I'll add to it. So 2 plus 1, 20 plus 10 years of
Yes.
experience, mashallah. So what's the thing that the marketers or the CMOs miss when they are planning for the future? What's that one thing that they always miss out?
I know it all.
Makes sense.
There are a lot of CMOs that had some seriously great success in the past. And every time you talk to them, they say, well, when I was in X, I have done it this way. This is something I've seen with a couple of CMOs.
Okay.
And I don't disagree. I mean, kudos for them for being so successful during these days. But there are so many changes that happened last just couple of years. Appetite, customer expectation, a new generation coming in, generation that only likes to be spoken to through clicks and talks and 15
Agreed.
seconds and 5 seconds reels. And you cannot say, I'm going to still use the same, I'm not going to say strategy, approach to have the same success. What
Right.
has happened before, I'm not going to say it's not replicated. It could be replicated with the right tools, correct? So think about your tools. Think about the approach. Think about the partnership. Think about, you have new partners, correct? That are coming every day to the market.
Agreed.
So the old way of contacting an advertising company to do your whole pitch and help you with that is also being adjusted, correct? And everyone, including these advertising companies, who are adjusting themselves to be able to become a bit more competitive, to be able to sell their products to others. And they're moving from services and consultancy to actually services that you can take and use it yourself.
100%.
So it's accepting that there's a change and the change needs to happen. And again, it's the agility of the mindset. Give you an example, honestly, that happened with me. I packed my house and we were literally leaving from Dubai to Singapore.
Right.
Went and saw the house. We saw schools, came back to Dubai, packed the house. We're living in a hotel. And by that time, I was in a certain country. Because I used to, we're
Right.
doing due diligence. And I got a call from my president. He said, look, I know that you speak French, but do you think you would go to France instead of Singapore? I said, well, we packed the house. And
Okay.
he said, yeah, but might need you more in Europe. So would you be okay if you go to Europe? And I was like, yeah, well, Singapore or Europe is still same thing. Okay, I'll go to Europe. Others will say, no, I already found the house, I cannot change. It's a big change, correct? You need to think on your feet and accept, yeah, if I'm successful here, I can be successful here. It's just a bit of tweaking certain things that make me successful in certain areas. And if I've done something right in 20 years ago, go back to, who said that changing a tire in 8 seconds is not a good number? Yet they
True.
kept changing it to get to 1.46. 1 second, 46 for
Wow.
changing 4 tires. It takes us maybe 15 to 20 minutes to change 1 tire in our car. So I think this is where good and better is never enough.
No, 100%.
Never enough.
So taking you back to the marketing side of things, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the taglines, right? So, if your life was a marketing campaign, because you have seen so many marketing campaigns over 3 decades, what would be the tagline of your life?
Transform, empower, repeat.
Wow.
So transform,
Okay.
empower people to be able to take it, repeat again, because once you get there, someone else is doing something that you don't know about. You need to stay in the game.
100%.
So I would say this: transform, empower, repeat.
Awesome. And for the aspiring marketers listening, I think one more key takeaway is adaptability. You need to adapt to the changing market situations, because most of what you're studying at colleges and universities might not be applicable when you hit the corporate world, right? Well, in the interest of time, I mean, this is a wonderful conversation, and I
My
would
pleasure.
want it
Thank you.
to,
I'm
go
having
on and
blast.
on. Likewise, but in the interest of time, I think we need to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Any last words for the marketers who are, just going to hit the corporate world?
Yes, I think one word: keep improving yourself, and then you can improve everything around you.
100%. Well, you listen to Samir Awarkeh. Thank you very much for tuning
Thank
into
you.
Behind Marketing Lines.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Nishan.
Samir.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Much
much. It was
appreciated.
a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.